Well, welcome to this Burn News Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Basden, and joining me on this edition is none other than Jessica Lewis. Jessica Lewis is our Paralympian, Parapan champion, T53, women's T53. Jessica, it's been a special time for me personally, and I guess for Bermuda to have another world champion, because we all know what Florida has been able to do in the sport of triathlon, but to also have another female on top of the world in the region, and chomping at the bit. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that 2020 Paralympic Games, but I know you'll be ready come 2021, won't you?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely been a little bit tough just having the standstill after coming off of how I did in Lima in 2019 as well as in Dubai. So it's kind of been tough to stay motivated in that kind of sense, but I'm definitely going to be ready for next year.
Let's take a look back at your start in the sport, only because you've done various things as a youngster, to be very active, and then eventually you get that opportunity to go to the games, I believe in 2008, watch the Para Games, and then you're a part of, or you're trying to be a part of something. But let's go back to what a lot of people don't remember, or don't know about Jessica, is that you started out riding horses,
I
wasn't it?
did, yeah. Actually, my first introduction to sport was swimming at the age of 2. My older sister was at a lesson, and her teacher offered to teach me, Jackie Rayner. So I've definitely been active since I was at the age of 2 in sport. And then I got involved in Windreach, Bermuda at the age of 5 for horseback riding. And then that kind of evolved as their sporting program evolved through the years, and I got involved in tennis and basketball. So sports has definitely always been there. And then track started in 2006 when they held the Sports Expo, where my previous coach, Ken Tom, came down as well as Curtis to showcase the sport, and then he offered to coach me.
Well, when you look at it, um, once you get that drive about, I wanna try and do something different. You get it. But looking back now, 14 years later, when you started, was that wasn't even a good and a dream. You just wanted to compete, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going to a Paralympic Games never really crossed my mind until I was very fortunate to be sent by the Bermuda Paralympic Association to the Beijing 2008 Paralympic Games to be a spectator. And that kind of just opened up my eyes to a whole new world of parasport. And I remember sitting in the stands with those 90,000 people watching track. And I said to my mom, I was like, the next games, I'm going to be down on that track racing, not here in the stands. That definitely ignited the spark in me.
You find your coach, you find a program, you focus in on your strengths. Obviously, you say it all the time. I'm a sprinter. I'm not no distance person. Um, but doing the distances has helped you in discipline for your sprints, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely, and it's definitely helped to get better endurance as well, so that I am able to stick a little bit better near the end of races where I usually fatigue out in the sprints. So it's that's definitely been helping me a lot.
I think one of the big things when you burst on the scene, although you've done the Paralympics, bursting on the scene in 2015, the Parapan Games. Here's this young lady from Little Bermuda lining up against people that you had competed against on a regular, but not many people in Bermuda know who Jessica Lewis is, and what this Parapan is all about, let alone a para athlete. We're gonna in a few minutes look back at that particular race, because right after that, I think every corner of this island knew who Jessica Lewis was, and not only around the island, but also in the region, because you kind of set a fire to the sport for locals, for anyone in the region that didn't have any idea that someone can actually do what you were able to do. Do you remember 2015, the Parapan Games? You're looking at all these people in the stands, but you're going to an event. What goes through one's mind as you're preparing for this ultimate race?
So yeah, 2015 definitely was kind of my breakout year. That's what my previous coach Ken Tom called it. And we had worked so hard during that year, just focusing mainly on the 100 and the 400-meter event, because those were going to be the ones that I knew that I could do really well in going into the Parapan Games in Toronto. And also in 2015, I transitioned to using a new racing chair that my sponsors at the time, Tokyo Millennium Re, purchased for me. And this chair was going from a chair that was upholstery seating to a chair that was a hard panel seating. And basically the difference is with a hard panel, you don't actually move a lot in the chair. So you're very secure, very stable. So when you put all your power into the wheels, it goes straight into the wheels. You don't kind of lose anything in movement. And usually athletes who are just starting out do the upholstery seating just to make sure that they know what seating position works best for their body type and where they get the most power from. So that definitely helped in 2015 transitioning into that kind of chair. And then, like I said, just focusing mainly on those two events and kind of tailoring the training towards that. And Ken said that that was always going to be my race, the 100-meter. And actually that morning, I had my 800-meter and it did not go anywhere near what I was hoping it would. And I remember coming off and I was in tears and I was so upset and so mad. And Ken was able to kind of calm me down and help me refocus, and it turned into an awesome night. So
Well, you know what? Let's kind of relive that moment, 2015, the Parapan Games, Jessica Lewis winning the race.
yeah.
One thing's for sure, for anyone watching that video and know who Jessica's mom is, all those people, you could clearly hear one voice stand out.
Yeah.
Talk us through that embrace after that race with your family.
Yeah, it was so emotional, and I'm a little teary right now just watching that. And I remember when we came around the track, and I came by, and all my family was there at the bottom of the stands, kind of looking over at the track, and they handed me the little Bermuda flag, and it was definitely very emotional. And then coming off and just seeing the big grin on Ken's face, and the high five that he gave me, and he said, "I knew we would do it." And I also came off and was drug tested, so that was nice to have that little thing. And it actually turned out the lady that tested me, she was actually a Brock University professor, so it was kind of fun to be connected like that.
It's amazing how when one lives or relives a moment, how much emotion comes out, because the small details that could have gone through your mind, you kind of put them in the back, but then when you see a performance again, those emotions come right back running out, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. It's like you're right back there on that day. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that that performance, like you said, the 800 didn't go as well as you wanted it to, tears and all, but it kind of made you more determined in that 100, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It kind of helped me to kind of refocus and say, you know what, the 800 isn't my race, and we knew that going in. This was going to be kind of the bonus race, and just to try and think of it as a warm up going into my race.
You shake all that off because you still got world championships later that year. Getting all that emotion and all the things that you put into the Parapan Games, Ken's now got to get you refocused because also is the World Championships was another big event, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely a lot bigger too, because you're competing against the whole world, not just the Pan American countries. Yeah.
And now you're up against people that you're looking at your time and you're looking at their time. That battle's going to be a lot stiffer. But it's all about getting that start, focusing in on what you need to focus in. How do you channel yourself in 2015 for the World Championships, like mentally?
Yeah. Well, definitely having the gold in Toronto definitely gave me a little bit more confidence. And I knew throughout the 2015 season I was getting a little bit faster each time I was doing the 100 meter. So I was very confident in that, and I was confident in the new equipment that we were using, and I was definitely confident in the relationship that Ken and I had built over the 5 years leading up to that. Just knowing that even if I had the slightest bit of doubt, I knew Ken didn't, and he was able to kind of talk me off the ledge, so to speak. And just going into that, I necessarily didn't really focus on who I was competing against, but rather, um, what I had to do to make sure that I could make it on that podium and have the fastest start and kind of get there.
You go into the race and expectations for yourself, for everyone else on the line are high when you get in there. When do you realize I'm in a medal position right now and I'm going to hold on to that as the race progresses?
Well, to tell you the truth, I actually didn't realize that I had medals and during the race. It wasn't until Samantha Kinghorn, who's a racer from the UK, she actually said, "Congratulations, you did it." And I had thought that someone on the outside, I think in lane one, I can't remember, I think I was lane 4 or 5, and whoever was in lane one, I thought they had passed me. So I thought I was actually fourth. And so it wasn't until Samantha said that, and I looked up at the screen and saw that I got that bronze. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like so cool!"
Now, not more emotions come flooding out because you're now a medalist in World Championships. So what a 2015 you were having. Actually, you know what? Let's relive that moment of the 2015 World Championships when you got that bronze medal.
That is Bermuda's first ever medal at the World Athletics Championships.
That smile said it all. How proud were you to be on that podium to cap off a year knowing you had the medals to reward yourself and Ken for all the hard work?
Unbelievable. It's such an incredible feeling. And just knowing that, you know what, I could be among the top T53 racers in the world. And, I only weigh 65 pounds. So it's kind of cool to be able to say that I'm up there with some of the stronger girls. And that definitely boosted my confidence that, you know what, this sport, I could do well in this sport, and I could go farther and get faster and stronger. And yeah.
But then we go through so much emotion because you lose your coach in the process. So many different things are going on. I know for you it was really emotional because Ken became part of a family that also brought you in, and he became a part of your Bermuda family as well. Still thinking about him today, you walk around, or you go around every day with a bit of Ken never far away from you. Just give us a sense of what Ken meant to your career up until his passing.
Yeah, he meant absolutely everything. I definitely would never be where I am today if it wasn't for Ken. Like you said, he definitely became one of the family. He was also like kind of like a second father figure to me. And I actually ended up living with the family for a few years, so we definitely got really close. And Ken's attitude towards everything in life was just always so positive, and he always knew the right words to say. I mean, don't get me wrong, we did have our moments where we were irritated with each other, but that all comes with the relationship of coach and athlete. And I think when I first started with him, we kind of had an understanding that I would listen to everything that he said because he had the knowledge and knew how to get an athlete to an elite level. And he was a volunteer coach, so everything that he did, all the travel that he did with us, it was all out of his vacation time. And he worked full time. So it was absolutely incredible the time that he gave us. Um, I'm just I get a little emotional. I'm so grateful to him, and now that we've transitioned and I'm working with Curtis, I know that Ken's watching out over us, and he would be so proud of the relationship that Curtis and I have developed as coach and athlete, going from being teammates.
Now that transition would have been a little difficult because obviously you've had Ken in your ear, and so has Curtis. But now it's a transition to a different style, a different message being put across. Tell us how that relationship started, and then through to we'll get to the 2019 Parapan Games.
Yeah. So definitely, when we first started as coach and athlete, Curtis actually was still kind of competing as well, but he wasn't fully into it still. So he did end up retiring, and now it's full time coaching athlete role. And it was definitely tough at the beginning, I think, to go from that teammate relationship to a coach and athlete role. But I think we've kind of found our own little groove now, and we've kind of known that it would never be the same as what I had with Ken, and that's completely fine. That's what I want. We need something a little bit different is always good too. Um, and it's kind of cool to have a coach that was an athlete previously, just because they can kind of understand a little bit more of the nerves going into a race. And kind of our communication is a little bit different as well from what Ken and I had, just because Ken didn't have that kind of experience firsthand of being on a start line at a Paralympic Games. So definitely the communication is a little bit different there, but it's honestly working so well, and I'm just so grateful that he has stepped in because he didn't have to, and I remember at Ken's funeral, he came over to me and he said, "Don't worry, I'll look after you." So that was really, really special.
He has put his kind of stamp on things as well, because I remember in Peru when we were talking prior to your events, he had this calmness about him, and he says, I think a bit of my dad is in this, but he had all the confidence in the world that all the work had been done uh, leading up to it, and you just have to go out and just do what you do normally and perform. But the calmness for you when going into, especially knowing you're the defending champion of the 100-meter Parapan T53 women's race, you're the record holder for the event. In 2018, you were the world #1 at the end of the year. But calmness for you over getting ready for 2019. How did you manage that personally?
Yeah, so I think just having somebody that had the confidence in you definitely instilled a little bit more confidence in myself. And Curtis was always saying that, Ken gave me the base. And without that, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. But I always say to him, you know what? But you're the one that continued on this legacy. You continued on Ken's legacy, and you continued to help me work hard and push through obstacles. And while why he was going through not only losing his coach but his father, so just kind of having that like I said, that calmness and that confidence behind me definitely helped, and just helped me kind of push through kind of the hardest time, and we were there for each other through that. So I think that's definitely what got us to where we are in 2019.
We look at how things materialized at the Parapan Games in 2019. A lot of pressure, not only on you, because everyone's looking at Jessica Lewis, the defending champion, but you see a growth in Parapan Games because Bermuda now has 3 athletes at the game. So the growth is there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I know when we started talking about this journey, we were talking about you always talked about you wanted the team to grow. So you wanted people in Bermuda who have disabilities or are, what's your quote?
Definitely able.
Yes.
Yeah.
To understand that they can still be world-class athletes, be mobile, keep moving, just have the confidence in yourself. So you're wearing this tag and this flag. How at a young age, how are you managing? And you were still doing school and getting, trying to finish your education.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot, but I did do a lighter course load at school just to kind of balance that. But I kind of see this as, an opportunity to share parasport with Bermuda. And because we are so small, we don't have kind of the same exposures to this type of sporting. And for people here that, don't have that exposure, don't even like family members who may not realize what their friends or their kids are capable of doing. So it's definitely important in that aspect of helping them see that we can still be incredible people that can contribute to society and can be among the best in the world in anything that you set your mind to. And just kind of having that example, I think, is truly important, and kind of inspires other people to get moving and to get a little bit more confidence. I definitely know that without the exposure to Windreach as well as to the games in 2008, I wouldn't have known that this was possible.
You look at those events in 2019, and your well, the signature event is obviously the 100. You guys were on that start line. It seemed like forever and ever and ever. I even got impatient at times, pacing up and down. But what people don't realize is what goes through one's mind while waiting. I mean, there you are. It's a cool evening. Your anticipation is there. What was one of the final things that went through your mind before that 100 in Peru in 2019?
Well, I remember being in the call room feeling like I was going to throw up. I was so nervous going into it. And actually, the young girl from Mexico, when we were waiting to go in, she looks at me and she goes, "You're the record holder in this, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah," like adds a little bit more pressure there. And then as we were heading out to the call room, they told us that it would just be kind of one event that they would call and introduce people, and then it would be us. And it turned into being a lot longer than that. So sitting on that start line, your head just kind of plays tricks with you. And, I just kept thinking, like, I got to get this record again. I got to get this record again. And then I told myself, I need to stop thinking that because that's going to mess me up. And I just need to start focusing now on myself, not worrying about who's next to me in the lane, and to kind of focus on my technique. Because I know that Ken and now Curtis, our mantra has always been that technique will get you there. And if you start panicking, your push goes all off and that kind of thing. So I was just trying to focus on that. And then I remember when they finally called on your marks, I was like, okay, deep breath, let's do this. And after that, I don't remember until I cross the finish line.
Was there any conversation with you guys, with you girls on the start line, or everybody just kind of zoned into their own thing?
There was a bit of zoning. I think I actually don't really remember if we had any conversations.
You were down there
Um,
long enough.
yeah, I think I probably heard someone say, "Oh, come on, let's go." That's probably about it.
Well, you know, one of the biggest special moments was that podium presentation that we had in 2019. Let's take a look at the Parapan 2019 gold medal presentation. You know, I relive that moment over and over and over in my mind every time I see you or think about, you know, having a conversation with you, because for anyone that's Bermudian to have a Bermuda athlete on top of a podium is a special, special moment. And obviously, being there to witness it for myself was very special as well. And even looking at the video, you're looking up to where we were all congregated, you know, just waving and all the smiles and everything, and the emotion was running so high. I mean, take us through rolling yourself onto that podium yet again to collect the gold medal for Parapan.
Well, first, I just want to say it was so fun to have you there and to be able to come off the track and you be the first one that I see with your big smile and you know the conversations that we had before the interviews was truly special for me because you've been such an incredible supporter of parasport in Bermuda and sport in general. So I'm very, very grateful that you were there as well to kind of join in that celebration. Um, and yeah, definitely wheeling up on that podium and being at the top of it was absolutely phenomenal. And to be able to do that twice in 2019 in Lima was absolutely incredible. The 400 was definitely a surprise for me being at the top. I felt that I could be in medal contention, but I didn't realize it would be a gold medal. But definitely, and then seeing the flag raise and hearing our national anthem is just a feeling that's very, very tough to describe. And I was just so proud of myself and the work that Curtis and I had put in, and I thought a lot about Ken, and I felt like he was there, looking down on us, and kind of gave me that little bit of a push too to try and repeat my performance from Toronto, and to just kind of do it in his memory, and to know that um, the coach and athlete relationship with Curtis and I started off with a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your family has been a rock of support for you and Parasports. I know they are so proud of what you've been able to accomplish. Just speak about family connections and just what they're able to do to help and assist you along this journey.
Yeah, family has definitely been a huge, huge part of my journey. I'm truly, truly grateful for having a family that, doesn't see my disability. They always allowed me to go out and try new things. And if I got hurt, I got hurt. That's all part of the process of growing and developing, and really allowing me the space to realize that I could be somebody that is successful in life, and not hold me back. And it's been very special, and I'm very lucky that a lot of my family have been able to come to these big sporting events to kind of witness it firsthand, and that's definitely gives you a little bit more of a spark as well, seeing your family up in the stands. And my aunt, actually, she always ends up writing me a poem going into a race or after a race. So that's always really fun to have.
I know the in Lima. Obviously, one of your biggest fans, if not your biggest fan, your mom, couldn't be there because your sister was giving birth.
Yeah.
And I know my phone was going off. I
Yeah.
messages, and she was able to watch. And I think the way in which the support has been there from the Paralympic Association of Bermuda and globally, I know for you it's special because when you kind of meet up with all the athletes that you compete against, or that they're just competing in general, for you guys it's a norm, but it's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's awesome.
Now, lastly, we know that the games were called off for this year. What have you and Curtis been talking about possible for 2021?
So right now we're kind of just focusing on getting a good block of training in. We've obviously had to adjust it a little bit because right around now we would kind of be focusing more on short explosive things, whereas now we kind of can have a little bit more time to build that endurance and build a little bit more power instead of just transitioning right into speed workouts. We are still doing a little bit of speed stuff, but it definitely is about kind of building our endurance and building that strength. Right now I'm in Bermuda, so I am separated from him, which has been a little bit difficult. But my teammates and I were doing Zoom workouts twice a week just to try and stay connected with each other during this time. And we're just trying to help each other refocus for 2021. And I'm actually wondering if they're going to try and put on some more events next year. So our travel schedule might be a little bit more next year, God willing. And just kind of trying to take our anger that the games aren't happening this year and fueling that into our training.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jessica, I want to thank you for joining me on this Burning Sports special edition. I do want to show you, I still have.
Awesome.
For those, this is what you saw Jessica being presented with at the 2019 Parapan Games. She received, and I was very, very, very taken back and emotional when she said, "Listen, I have something for you, and I want to present it to you." And she did. She presented me one of the what is it? It's the mascot of the Parapan Games, and I do appreciate it, and I cherish it as well, Jessica. Just to say thank you very much, and we look forward to what will come in 2021 for you, parasports in Bermuda, parasports around the world, because I think people with the ability to do a sport can have the opportunity to do it. So we want to wish you all the best, and we'll be talking to you shortly.
All right. Thanks so much.
Well, folks, thank you for joining me here on Burning Sports. Have a great day.